Okay, first I want you to look at this shape over here. This is an example of a triangular prism, a three-dimensional shape with its base being triangles. Now, to find the surface area, remember, we're just looking for the area on the outside, and then we're going to add them all together. Boom, and that'll give us a surface area. So first what we have to do is, looking at this, I want to break down the different shapes that we see when we look at a triangular prism. For example, when I say the front, I'm talking about this area right here. That's the front. So what's the shape? It's a triangle. The shape? Okay, so we know that the front of this is a triangle. So let's look at the back, and the back is that section right there. So again, let's do the drawing, which is a triangle. Perfect. Okay, there's some more shapes. For example, one of the sides, so I'm talking about this side right here, is a rectangle. Make sure to get the drawing. Perfect. Okay. But there's also another side to it. And I'm going to try to outline it. It kind of comes off looking funky, but if you could imagine, if you were looking at it from this way, it would also be a rectangle. Okay. And the last is the bottom of it. And the bottom is this section right here, which is also a rectangle. Okay. So although triangular prisms could come in all different ways, these are the 5 basic shapes that you're going to see. You're going to see 2 triangles, and then you're going to see 3 rectangles. So in order to find the surface area of a triangular prism, the first step is you have to break down the different shapes, and then you have to find their measurements. Let me show you an example. Okay, here I have a triangular prism with measurements sort of all over the place. Looking at it, it seems kind of confusing, but if you break down the 5 different shapes, find their area, add them up, boom, it's easy. So let's take a look. So this 5.2 right here, that is going to be the height. Then I have 6, 6, 6, 7, and 5.2. Again, don't be intimidated by all the numbers or the 3-dimensional shape. Just break it down shape by shape. It's a whole lot easier that way. Okay? So let's see, the first shape I see, I'm going to start here with the front. The front is a triangle. So I'm going to say triangle. And now let's look at its measurements. Well, I see 6. Oh, before we do that, you remember to find the area of a triangle? Area equals base times height divided by 2. We're going to need that formula because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the area of a triangle. So here's my triangle. I see 6, and I'll just write it down here so you can see a little bit better. 6 is the base. Now what's the height? Remember, for the height I need to go straight up and straight down. So not that 6, because that 6 is part of the slanted line. So, I don't see a number there. But look at the triangle at the back. See, those are similar triangles. They're congruent, meaning that they're equal. So whatever measurements here in the front is going to be equal to the back. So in this case, I see no height here, but I check the congruent triangle, and I see, it has a height of 5.2. So that's going to be the height. 5.2 divided by 2. Perfect. So let's go ahead and let's find the area of that front triangle. Start with 6 times 5.2. I'm going to do it right over here. 5.2 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 carry the 1. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 1. 31. And I have 1 decimal place, so I'm just going to move it over 1. But then it also has to be divided by 2. Don't forget that step. So 31.2 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. 2, subtract, we are left with 1. Bring down the 1. 2 goes into 11 5 times. Oop, got to bring up that decimal place. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract 1. Bring down that 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12, which brings us to a perfect 0. So I now know that the area is going to be 15 6/10. Now you don't erase your work, but I need some room, so I need to erase my work. So I know the area of that triangle is going to be 15 6/10 centimeters. Perfect. So there's the front. Now let's look at the back. Here's my triangle. Now I mentioned that these triangles were congruent, or they were equal. How could I tell? The base is 6, so that base is going to be 6 as well, and the height is 5.2. So the back triangle is going to be 6 times 5.2 divided by 2. Didn't we just do that? So yeah, it's going to be 15.6 centimeters. Okay, 2 shapes down, 3 shapes to go. Let's look at the 2 sides. So we'll start with this side here. Okay, so let's look at the measurement. Well, we know the shape is a rectangle. And let's look at its measurements. Measurements are 7 up here and 6 here. That's really all we need. We need the base and we need the height. So 7 and 6. Because remember, area equals base times height when you're talking triangles. So in this case, it'll be 7 times 6, which of course is 42 centimeters. Perfect. 2 more triangles to go. Or 2 more rectangles, I should say. Here is my other side. And again, when I do the outline, it kind of looks like a diamond. It looks a little funky. But if you could imagine looking at it from this way, it would have the same shape as a rectangle. So in this case, the rectangle is going to be 6. And my other measurement, the top is 7. So it's going to be 6 times 7. And what do you know? That equals 42. Perfect. Okay. We've done the front, we've done the back, we've done this side, and we've also done that side. Only thing left to do is the bottom. So let's look at the measurements. Okay, so here I have 6 as the base. Oh, but let's look. I don't have any measurement here, I don't have any measurement there, any measurement there, so how do I know which one to use? Well, if we think back to our old rectangles here, don't the 2 rectangles, the top and bottom, aren't they parallel and equal? Yeah. So in that case, if that's 7, then we know that this line must also be 7. 7 and 7. So in this case, the bottom is going to be 7 times 6. 7 times 6, which we know is 42. Perfect. So now let's just recap what we did. We broke down the different shapes, the 3 rectangles, the 2 triangles. We found the area for each of them, 15.6, 15.6, 42, 42, and 42. Our last step to find the surface area of the whole thing is we have to add them up. So let's do it. I have 15.6 and 15.6. I have that twice. So I'm just going to do, for the triangles, 15.6 times 2, because we have 2 of them. 2 times 6 is 12, 2 carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, 1 carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, with 1 decimal place here. So I know for my triangles is going to be 31 and 2/10. Now for my rectangles, I have 42, 42, 42. 42 times 3. 42 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. So I know it's going to be 126 for my 3 rectangles. And what do we have to do to those two numbers? You guessed it. We have to combine them. Let's add them. So I have 126 plus 31.2. Add my decimal, annex a 0, and let's do it. 0 plus 2 is 2. Bring down the dots. 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 plus 3 is 5. And that 1 just drops down. So we are left with my surface area being 157.2. And we're dealing with centimeters. Forgot my unit. Centimeters squared. Okay. So again, just to recap, what you have to do, find each of the shapes, find the area for the individual shapes, add up all your totals, and boom, that gets you your surface area. I did give you a try on your own. So let me get you started on this one. Okay, let me get you started. Here we have another rectangular prism, little bit of a different shape. I'm sorry, triangular prism, little bit of a different shape though. Here I have the front triangle, back triangle, side, side, bottom, still. So let's look at our first shape here. It's going to look kind of like this. Okay? And look at our measurements. Our measurements for the first one are 5 and 2. And remember, for a triangle, area equals base times height divided by 2. So first step, you got to find the area of the front triangle. The area of the back triangle is going to be the same as the front, because that 5 is going to equal to that 5. This 2 is going to be equal to that back 2. So again, it's going to be 5 and 2. Find the area of that. We have 3 rectangles to find. Here's my front rectangle. Okay. My base is 4. And my height is 5 4/10. And remember, with rectangles, it's going to be area equals base times height. 2 more rectangles to find. We're going to do this back one here. And look at the measurements for the back one. I have 5. Here it is. And then notice how that line is 4? Well, if that line is 4, then the corresponding opposite side is also going to be 4. Perfect. And again, find the area of that. One more to find, and that is the area of the bottom rectangle. And let's look at our measurements. I see 4, and then I see 2. Okay, now what I've done is I've broken down all the different shapes for you. Your job, first find the area of each individual shape, add up the totals,